right, well, we are fresh off the NFL Combine, and I'm sure by now everyone's back in their buildings ready to make some moves because free agency begins in less than 2 weeks. FS1’s Danny Parkins here with us for his weekly segment here on Fox Chicago. Danny, we learned a few things about the Bears at the Combine, who the Bears are getting calls about, them granting Tremaine Edmunds permission to seek a trade. We also learned that Ryan Poles likes the depth at the edge position in this draft class. First off, what do you think they do with the 25th overall pick? Do you think they actually use it to trade down? What do you think happens here?
Well, I mean, I think it certainly could be the centerpiece of a trade. I don't know about trading down or anything like that, but I think like if Maxx Crosby is available, I think that the 25th pick is going to be prominently featured in that discussion. Maybe they'll just try to sign Trey Hendrickson if he hits free agency, but normally your first round pick is this massive, massive asset because we've talked about like they need a franchise quarterback with it, or it's a top 10 pick. With the 25th pick in the draft, it's not as premium of an asset. So I do think it's much more likely to be moved by Ryan Poles, who we've seen is very willing to make deals.
Albert Breer said moving Maxx Crosby could happen as soon as this week there for the Raiders. And apparently the Bears are one of 7 teams to be keeping tabs on his availability. I'd imagine if I am Spytech in Las Vegas, you want a fair trade for Maxx Crosby. What is a fair trade here for Crosby? Because there are some people that are saying, he could cost more than the Micah Parsons deal.
Yeah, yeah, that will not happen. Like I don't that I also see people saying that, but allow me to be the first to report that that won't happen. Micah Parsons is younger, by a couple of years. So now it is true that Crosby is under contract and Micah needed to be traded for and then signed to the largest contract ever. So that is definitely true. But Maxx Crosby will probably want some sort of contract extension also. Myles Garrett got a contract extension when he was a little older than Maxx Crosby. So I don't think that you get Maxx Crosby and there's no new money attached to it. Not as much as Micah, but it will not cost a premium player and multiple first round picks to get him. I think the trade that Bill Barnwell proposed, makes a decent amount of the 25th pick in DJ Moore. Like, I think other teams could maybe beat that price. Like, I do think it's going to cost a lot to get him, but it will not cost as much as it costs for Micah Parsons.
Yeah, the age is what concerns me about Maxx Crosby. And also, I mean, 8 surgeries in the past 7 seasons, right? That's also a bit of a concern to me, too. Okay, speaking of trades, Tremaine Edmunds, Bears obviously giving him permission here to go out and seek a trade. Obviously, the cap space they would free up if they trade or cut him is significant for the Bears. If they're able to find a trade partner for Tremaine Edmunds, what do you think they should get back for him?
I mean, listen, when you telegraph it like this, it's usually a precursor to we're going to cut you, for the cap space. So you're not going to get much. Like Ryan Poles would do it immediately, I would imagine, for a fifth round pick, So, because also, it's a 7 round draft, but with guys going back to school now, we've seen that the seventh round picks have basically no value. Sixth round picks have basically no value because it's the drafts are not as deeper because more of the good players are going back to college to make a couple $1 million as college football players. So, there's not 210 plus NFL caliber players in a draft every year. So those real late round picks have almost no value. So I think he would be thrilled with a fourth. He would accept a fifth. But my guess is also when you tell a player like this that you're going to cut him, if go seek a trade. If you can't figure out a trade, we're probably going to cut you. The rest of the league knows that they're going to cut him also. So my guess is Tremaine Edmunds ends up getting released instead of cut. That'd be my guess.
I don't think he's lived up to the hype of his 4 year, $72 million contract. Okay, I'm curious for your thoughts on this. DJ Moore, obviously, he carries a massive contract, right? Do you think potentially trading him would unlock things for the Bears more so this offseason?
Well, I mean, it depends.
And I ask because I feel like even without him, this offense could still be explosive next season.
Yeah, okay. So a couple things. Like I think the Bears are going to go into next year trying to be the number one offense in football. Like I think that will be their stated goal. Now there's probably 12 other teams that feel like if things break right, they can have the best offense in football. But you don't get better losing DJ Moore, and so that task becomes more difficult. But can you use his resources elsewhere? Like I said in the Maxx Crosby trade, right? Like you have more depth at receiver than you do at D end. So if you could get a veteran pass rusher for a veteran receiver, I think you make that trade 10 times out of 10. Um, while it is true that DJ Moore has been oddly lacking in production with Caleb when he was so good with lesser talents at Carolina and Chicago, he is Luther Burden and Roma Dunze are still really young. Like DJ Moore is a pro's pro. He's tough. I think that they still have things that they can learn from him. Now you don't want 28 million bucks to be a player coach. Like he needs to be more productive than he has been. So if DJ Moore's on the team, it's not a bad thing. But I do think that Ryan Poles is going to pretty aggressively look to reallocate those resources. So I said it the day the season ended. My gut tells me DJ Moore plays week 1 for a different team next year, but it's pretty close to a 50-50 proposition, I would say.
Were you surprised to hear that the Bears were also getting calls about Tyson Bagent? I mean, there are teams out there that are quarterback needy as well, but one, I feel like they've made it pretty clear that we value Tyson. We put in the time, the development with him too. So if we trade him, like the price needs to be right, and what we get back is going to need to be right as well.
Well, I will say this that this is a story that Bears fans have literally no familiarity and understanding with. Like having too many good quarterbacks has literally never been the problem in the history of the franchise. So like the idea that 2 of the 32 best in the NFL happen to be on the Chicago Bears is basically an unprecedented situation in the history of professional football. So um I think that a backup quarterback who you think can win games with is a very valuable thing. And I
Mhm.
think that the Bears absolutely believe that they can win games with Tyson Bagent. So, you know, if you could get a second round pick for him, I think you do that, obviously, to because the old line, and I can't say it verbatim, but Tom Moore, the old coordinator for the Colts, said that the Peyton Manning's backup never practiced. And they said, why doesn't Peyton's backup practice? And he goes, well, because if Peyton goes down, we're effed, and we don't practice effed. And so, like, I do think that there is something to be said of like, if the goal is the Super Bowl, and you're not going to win the Super Bowl without Caleb, then you may as well move Tyson Bagent for a pick that you can turn into an offensive lineman or an edge rusher to try to help Caleb win a Super Bowl. So I have no doubt, this is a long way of saying, I have no doubt that the Bears are taking calls or would take calls on Tyson Bagent, but they are not going to move him for like the 100th pick in the draft because the ability to go 500 with Tyson Bagent, if Caleb Williams misses a month, is a very, very, very valuable commodity in this league.
Totally, totally. Let's keep it here on the offense and final few questions for you. I want to ask you about the left tackle position because Dan Rochar was on a podcast recently and essentially was saying that the options that we have in the building, they're not super sold on them. Like they've got characteristics, however, these guys are not consistent. And he wasn't sure if they really had the assets to really go out there and get a left tackle. So are we undervaluing obviously Ozzy Trapillo? They're expecting him to not be available for a large part of next season as he rehabs from the knee injury. But when you've got Braxton Jones, Theo Benedict, to me, he's really a swing tackle. Um, your thoughts on what the Bears should do at the left tackle position? And here we are talking about the left tackle position again.
Yeah, listen, I mean, so you can't have a perfect football team. It's impossible. It's a salary cap sport. Every team is going to have holes. Um, the Bear left guard to right tackle, all 4 guys played at least 90% of the snaps last year. Like that is a remarkable amount of talent, health, and consistency. That probably won't happen again. Like someone is going to get hurt. So you are going to have a worse right 80% of your offensive line, and you've got a question at left tackle, as you mentioned. So, like, are you going to be able to plug all of those holes though in one offseason? No. Like, someone's going to need to get better, someone's going to need to get coached up, and someone's going to need to overachieve. Like, maybe a third round pick, Ryan Poles, you're a former offensive lineman. hit on someone, like find a diamond in the rough. Like you're not going to be able to go out and get a $25 million a year left tackle when you've got the problems that you have in your front seven and you need to save your money for your premium offensive pieces. Like so it's just that is likely to be a question mark week 1, week 6, and week 18 of next year. And because you're not going to be able to throw premium resources at every issue on the team. That's just I mean, the Super Bowl champions have had question marks. You know, every team has question marks, and the Bears just have one at left tackle right now.
Real quick, want to ask you about the Cubs. Obviously, they're down in Arizona. Spring action. Haven't fared very well here in the spring, but how excited are you for this upcoming season, especially with Alex Bregman now on the team?
Got to tell you, there's things that I care about and there's things I don't care about. What the Cubs' record is in spring training is so far down on the list of things I don't care about. It doesn't even make that list. Like your spring record does not matter. Um, Very exciting prospects for the upcoming Cubs season. You know, Steele will be back eventually. Cabrera, Bregman, new bullpen, steps back, I think, for the Brewers. Cubs heavy favorite in the Central. Obviously, everyone's chasing the Dodgers, but like should be another 90 plus win season, should be a division title, should have home playoff games at Wrigley, should be favored in your first round playoff series. Like, you know, high expectations, and then you take your chances with the Dodgers if you're lucky enough to get there.
Shota Managa. Any concerns on him going into this season? I know he
Yeah, he
hasn't.
gives up too many home runs. Yeah, he gives up too many home runs. That's my concern. Hopefully, he gives up some solo homers, and not ones with guys on base. They extended the qualifying offer. It was the right thing to do. They have arms that they can throw at the problem. They didn't commit a massive amount of money to him long term. So I think it's okay. Is it a question mark though? Absolutely. But we've seen him be really good for stretches of time. So I don't look at him as like a huge weakness. I just look at it as a question mark.
I think getting Steele back too, especially at some point in the first half of the season, will be huge for them as well. Danny Parkins, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Tina.